welcome to my latest project. This is on the East Deering side of Portland, Maine, and we are beautifying this house, giving it a little curb appeal. This house was built right after World War II, so 1946, and we're just making a few adjustments to make it look a little bit more contemporary while still honoring its past. And here are some of the things I'm doing. So on the corners of the house, the cedar shakes used to come together and were mitered at the corners. And this is actually a continuation of a project I began last March when I redid the garage. So I'll post a picture up here in the corner of the garage as it appeared before I started last year. But I completely remodeled the garage the way it looked, changing some window sizes, adding trim to it. So at the house, I've gone ahead and put trim up on the corners using AZEK, so it reduces the chance of, well, it eliminates the chance of rot, and also paint clings better to it. So we've done that there. In the front of the house, and again, it's going to look gorgeous once it's gray. Got the trim over here on the right side, and to delineate the main house from what looks to be a 1960s edition on the side over here, it used to just be a sea of cedar shakes all the way to the end. What I've done is added just a piece of trim right at the corner of the house, right there, to just delineate the buildings, just to make them appear as though they're two separate buildings as opposed to trying to wash it over. Didn't make a whole lot of sense to wash it over because you see the roof line comes down. So this way it makes everything more cohesive. The front door here used to just be cedar shakes going right to that trim that you see here. What I'll be doing is I'll be adding, bringing out columns that are going to be about 9 inches wide, about as wide as the space I've cleared, that'll come out about 6 inches. And it's going to wrap up all the way around the door. Up at the top, it'll have a little reveal that'll come out another 3/4 of an inch. We'll match the trim wrapping around the top portion to the trim that exists up at the house. After we finish the downstairs portion, we'll be restoring the dormers. Just replacing the trim. I might not be able to see it on camera, but down at the bottom it's all rotten. And also there are a couple roofs on this house. So what's ended up happening is you're supposed to leave a space between the clapboards up here and the roof. And because there are multiple layers of roofing up there, they're butted too, and it has rotted the edges of these. So we'll be replacing these cedar shingles, clapboards, with new up in here, doing the trim and AZEK, and just making sure the flashing's done correctly. I would imagine it is, but you never know what you're going to find in these old houses when you start taking things apart. We did find there's a little bit of rot here. It's actually technically not rot, it's carpenter ant damage that was down in this corner, so I'll have to repair that. Over in this corner, the corner beam was floating in mid-air. The carpenter ants you can see sort of the waste from the carpenter ant destruction of the sill in this corner. But I took that all out, replaced it with pressure treated wood, and then reapplied the sheathing. And we'll be doing this portion in the cedar shakes. So again, it's cedar shakes down below, clapboard up at top. Now these clapboards have a 6-inch reveal, so you need 8.5-inch clapboards to replace them. Those are roughly at parity with the price of gold right now. Lumber is insane. So a year ago these were $1.53 a linear foot, and as I'm recording this today they are $2.90 a linear foot. Thankfully everything up here is in good condition. I will be taking the bottom row of clapboard off here, again to mimic the garage I've already done, and just adding a piece of 1x in here with a little drip edge, just to give it definition so that when the house is painted a darker gray, the trim really pops with white. And I didn't want that dark gray to spill down all the way down to the bottom. I do want just a nice line of white right there. So we'll do a piece of AZEK right in here to help that out. I did struggle with changing out the corners because, you know, it's actually more, there's more talent involved, and the cedar shakes on this house were installed beautifully. I mean, they are all on there firmly, well hung, in great shape. They were primed even for 1940s. You can see here where they were primed. Really well done, but it really just gives it a more modern look to just, and gives us those straight white lines on the gray background. It's going to look incredible. In fact, one of the gentlemen who owns this house is a graphic artist, and I will show you the rendering of what this house will look like when it's complete, up here in the top right corner. And it's going to look gorgeous. I'll show you an example. This is a shed they had built a couple years ago, just for some extra storage. So this is what the corners look like. I haven't gotten to the, this is the back of the house now. So on the back of the house, what we'll be doing, this is the last corner of cedar shakes. I need to add a piece of trim to, so we'll have to fish those out of the corner there, make sure it's wrapped appropriately. Here we're going to replace the door. Now you'll notice at some point the door was replaced, and they put this new door in probably sometime in the 90s, I'd say, based on the door, although it does have that yellow cladding over the window, so it might be more of an 80s door. Nonetheless, they got a smaller door than was here, and this is how they DIY'd this job. They just put a single, yeah, they put a single row of cedar shakes on each side. Not some of the better craftsmanship I've seen. So we'll be repairing that. We have a new door coming. It's actually going to be similar to the door on the garage, so it actually comes black, and the color of the doors here will be black. So we're going to put a new door in here. We did end up, just because there could be surprises with the framing, getting the same size door, but what I'll end up doing is just taking this questionable craftsmanship off here, and we'll just do a piece of trim to make everything line up. On the back here there is just more of that cedar clapboard that is touching the roof. It needs to be off of that roof at least 1/4 of an inch, expose some of that flashing. So we're going to replace all of this in here with, again, the golden wood. So we'll be doing that. Over here there's a little detail. There's not an overhang like there is in the front to go from the lower level to the upper level. What they did was they did sort of a tiny little overhang with a crown up above it. It looks terrible. They used a tin flashing, so it's, you know, 1 foot in length, so it goes, you know, 1 foot, 2 feet, and it's just, you can see the seams. It's all bent up. It doesn't look nice. It'll really show up once this house is painted a dark color with white trim. So we're going to take that off of there. This is one of those design as you go. I'm going to take it off, stand all the way in the backyard, look at it, and then decide what's going to look best for the house. And these clients are fabulous in that we can work together and come up with some cool designs. It's going to look great. So here we are back at the corner that started it all, and we have the shakes up. And they are in place, ready to go. So in the following weeks, I'll be getting scaffolding, doing all the sides of those dormers, replacing the trim up here. The trim at the roof line is actually in really good shape, so that'll paint nicely. But we'll do this in AZEK so it won't rot in the future. We'll back those cedar clapboards off the roof about 1/4 of an inch so there's a space for water to run that's not on the wood. And we'll get this gussied up. So someone right after I'm done is going to come and scrape this house and paint it, and I cannot wait to see it when it's done. So I'm just basically getting it ready for paint. And there she is. So that's where I'm at on my current project, and I will check back in and update you as things progress, especially after I get the front door area done. That's going to look super pretty. I'll check back in once the door's up, the surround around the door, and get just the front done. I'll just post a little update so that you can see how that comes out. Super excited about this. This is my curb appeal specialty. I feel like maybe I started a little early. It's very cold outside still, but at least here I'm in direct sun, and I actually got a little bit of sun while I was working on this week. So yeah, good news. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
You're kind of shady because you're in the tree.
Oh.
There, you're in the branch. There we go.